Thank you very much for the very gracious introduction.
好，非常感谢大家对我的非常优美的介绍。
I'm very pleased to be here with Professor Chen and his students.
我很荣幸今天能和郑教授和以及他的学生们今天能够在一起谈论佛法。
I hope to give you a taste of Chan.
我希望今天能够给大家有一点点的了解禅是什么。
Chan is the Chinese word for the Indian word dhyana.
禅呢是中文对梵文的dhyana 的翻译。
It's very interesting that the Chinese took this word seriously and to heart to show that Chan is not necessarily a thought or a thing, but a practice.
非常有趣的是呢，我们中国人呢把这个禅这个概念呢非常的认真的吸收进来，并且了解到禅它不是一个什么理念，不是一个什么想法，而是一种修行。
The practice that we are engaged in is not to make the self more polished or better.
但是呢，这个修行呢，不是说把我们自己一个自我变成一个更好的，更完美的自我，不是这样的。
It's not to have the self become enlightened.
也不是说呢，把有一个所谓的自我呢，能够达到一个悟境。
We know from the Heart Sutra right away that there is no ignorance nor any attainment.
其实从心经来讲，我们马上就可以了解到，心经直接告诉我们，是没有所谓的烦恼，也没有任何的成就可以得的。
To try to bring this mind, this self to some kind of an enlightened state is not possible.
想把一个自己变成了一个能够开悟的自我，这样的一个想法，这是不可能的。
In my group, I call my group mind work.
在我的这个小组里面，我们这个在线上的这个讲座里面，我的这个小组的名字叫做新的工作，新的运作。
It is where everything appears.
心呢，就是一切呈现的地方。
It is commonly said in the sutras, as well as many of the Chan treatises.
实际上呢，这个概念呢，是在所有的经典以及论点之中呢，经常提到
的。That we must be certain as to who is the guest and who is the host.
在我们的修行当中，我们要很清楚的了解谁是客，谁是主。
For instance, this moment here that I am here, I am the guest.
举个例子来讲，在当下这个时刻，我就是你们的客人。
If I told you, and Professor Chen is the host.
当然，郑教授呢当然是这里的主人。
But if after this lecture I asked him to leave, that would not make any sense.
但是在这个讲座之后呢，我请他离开，这是非常没有道理。
I began to drink from his cup, and and use his toothbrush to brush my teeth.
如果我让他离开了，我将会用他的杯来喝水，我将会用他的牙刷来自己刷牙。
You would say, "What are you doing?"
你们会说你在干什么？
You are not the owner of this place.
你不是这个地方的主人，
You are not the leader here.
你不是这里的领袖。
I would say, "Well, you were so gracious with me, I thought I just might as well stay."
我会说，有可能您对我太好了，我觉得这就是我的家。
But in reality, tomorrow I will not be here
但事实是，明天我将不会在这儿，
unless what I am lecturing on is completely false.
除非我讲的这些东西都是完全的错误。
So we must understand mind.
所以呢，我们一定要了解真的心是什么。
I can use these very simple analogies and metaphors to show you this.
当然，我可以用一些非常简单的比喻、形象来解释心是什么。
Or I can go to very deep into the sutras and the treatises of the Chan masters to talk about this.
当然了，我也可以从经典以及所谓古德的这些所有的论点之中呢，非常深入的来讲心是什么。
And forgive me, since I'm not completely aware of your capacities and scholarship, I will presume that you are ready for the simple, but also the very deep and profound.
很抱歉，我不了解大家在这个佛法的理解方面有多么的深入，但是呢，我想今天呢，我还是给大家从简单的一直讲到深入。
In any case, it is the heart of a presenter of the Dharma to try to reach as many people as they can.
无论如何呢，实际上是讲法人的心，最后让大家能够了解佛法是什么。
We really don't talk about delivering sentient beings.
我们没有真正的讲过所谓度众生是什么。
When we talk about delivering sentient beings, we talk about delivering illusory sentient beings.
实际所谓的度一切众生呢，实际上是度所有的虚妄的众生。
My appearance on the screen and your appearances or your names on the screen, they're all electronic illusions.
我在屏幕上的显示我的样子，以及你们大家在屏幕上加上你们的名字，实际上这些都不过是一些电子呈现的假象。
And tomorrow I will not be projected on the screen.
到了明天，我不会在这个屏幕上再出现。
Likewise, if you come back in 100 years, I doubt if any of you would be projected on the screen.
同样的，100年以后，我相信你们每一个人都不可能在这个屏幕上再出现了。
If you did, you would be abomination against nature because you can't live that long.
如果你真的能够100年以后还出现的话，你将是对这个自然法则的一个完全的反作用。
All appearances are appearances of what's called a projection on the screen of mind.
其实所有的现象都是心中呈现的一个投射。
It is that we appear in mind.
所以我们也是在心中投射的一个影像。
Since we appear so often since our birth, we have become confused and we think we're the host, that we are mind.
因为我们不断的在心中投射这个自我，我们错误的把这个自我当成了心的主人。
This is where it gets to be a little bit tricky.
这个在这一点上呢，就是变成了非常难懂的地方了。
We are what is called Dharmadhatu phenomena.
我们实际上呢是法界中所有的现象，所有的法性。
All that appears is phenomena.
在心性之中呢，一切的呈现我们管它叫现象。
All that moves is phenomena.
一切可以观察到的可以动的我们也管它叫现象。
Not only are we projections on the screen of mind,
我们不仅仅是在心中呈现的现象，
but everything about this world is created by mind.
其实所有的一切在这个世界中所有的一切都是唯心所造。
It is the first thing the Buddha taught.
其实这是佛最先教导大家的义理。
The Buddha came into this world,
佛来到了这个世间，
and by the way, truly the body that he was using, it too was not real.
实际上他的这个呈现的他的肉身也不是一个真实的，
It was just an appearance body.
它不过是一个报身，一个显现。
Do you not remember in the Diamond Sutra, it says that the Buddha cannot be known by his 32 marks.
如果大家记得的话，在《金刚经》里面说到了，佛是不能以他的32相而得见的。
When we see that everything is created by the mind, it helps us to begin to understand how mind works.
如果我们能够真正的了解一切为心造，这样的话，对于我们了解心是什么是很有帮助的。
The 12 nidanas, or the laws of dependent origination, help us understand how things come into being.
当然，12因缘这个法则会帮助我们理解这一切的显现是怎么来的。
We can summarize those 12 nidanas with a Sanskrit word.
我们可以把这个12因缘用一个梵语的词来总结起来。
Do any of you know a Sanskrit word that could summarize
你
this?
们哪一位知道这个梵语是怎么说的？12因缘。
It is Pratika Samapada.
这个梵文叫 Pratika Samappada 缘起。
Shenyan Shifu defined it as causes and conditions never fail.
圣严师父把这个缘起解释成为缘起因缘永远不会灭世。
In the Heart Sutra, it said, form is precisely emptiness. No, excuse me, form is nothing but emptiness.
在心经里说到色即是空，
And emptiness is not other than form.
空也不异色。
And then the next line is form is precisely emptiness.
下一句实际上是说色即是空，
It never fails.
这个原理是永恒的。
You in this country and in China have a saying.
以及你在这个国土上面这个道理是同样适用的。
If you plant a melon seed, you get a melon fruit.
如果你种了一个瓜的种子你得到了瓜，
You could not plant a melon seed and get a strawberry.
你不可能去种了一个瓜的种子而得到了一个草莓。
It doesn't work that way.
缘起不是这个样子。
This understanding of how mind works enables us to change the environment.
对心真实的了解，才能够让我们去改变我们周遭的环境。
It is changed by two important concepts.
环境是被两个重要的理念概念所影响的。
We understand it is precisely this way.
第一，我们要了解缘起是准确无误的。
Causes and conditions never fail.
因缘它永远不会灭失。
And we understand that everything is created by the mind.
第二个，我们要了解一切为心造。
There is a saying in Chan,
在禅中有一个说法，
to perceive the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. I should say, to know the Buddhas of the past, present, and future.
若人欲了之，三世一切佛。
Perceive that all Dharma Dhatu nature, all phenomena, is created by the mind.
因观法界性，一切为心造。
So not only is whatever moves an appearance a projection on the surface of the mind,
不仅仅是说一切的现象，一切的有动的东西是在心中的投射，
but it is created by the mind.
它们也同时是为心所造。
This gives those who study Buddhism an understanding as why things appear in the environment.
这让修行佛法的人能够正确的了解在心中所呈现的一切它的后面的原理是什么。
If there's a person that's constantly angry,
如果一个人经常的会愤怒，
then tomorrow, what do you think? Will they be angry or will they be pleasurable person?
明天你会认为他会怎么样？他会还是继续愤怒，还是说他会变成非常平静的人？
Of course, they're going to be angry again.
当然他会继续发怒下去。
How would you think that a strawberry would appear?
就像你知道这个草莓是如何出现的一样。
When we sit to meditate properly,
当我们以正见来打坐的时候，
then our meditation will produce proper results.
这样的话，我们的禅坐才会产生正确的功能。
When we reside in this world in a harmonious way, we will produce harmony around us.
当我们和这个世界非常融洽的时候，我们会产生一个和世界非常相融相洽的这么一个结果。
If we arise an interest in studying Buddha Dharma today,
如果我们今天升起了对佛法的信心，
tomorrow we will arouse the same interest or even stronger.
明天我们还会同样升起相同的兴趣和信心，甚至于更强。
It is the very reason why you are all listening now.
这就是为什么你们今天再来听这个讲座。
you have an interest in these subjects.
因为你对这个问题感兴趣，
And voila, someone appears to talk about it.
因为你的兴趣，一下子有一个人出现了，在为你讲法。
So actually, the practice of Buddhism is very simple.
实际上，佛法的修行是非常简单的。
In some Chan meditation halls, there is a sign.
有些禅堂里面会有一个标记，会有一个牌匾，
It says, choose the Buddha.
它说的是叫选佛场。
Moment to moment, we choose the Buddha.
在任何一个时刻，我们都选择用佛心。
Going deep for a moment, if we look at the Queen Shamala Devi Nudesa Sutra,
如果我们深入看待这个，就像是圣曼夫人狮子吼经里面所说的，
it talks about these latent defilements.
他在那里面谈到了这种非常根深蒂固的这种烦恼，
Or static defilements.
或者说是一个几乎是可以说是非常坚固的烦恼。
The most serious of them is Niscient entrenchment.
在这所有的烦恼里面，当然最重的烦恼是所谓的我们管它叫根本烦恼。
This Niscient entrenchment is deeply in the consciousness.
这个根本烦恼在我们的诗韵当中是深深的扎根。
Now, the consciousness in and of itself is not necessarily defiled.
实际上，我们所谓的诗韵，它本身并不一定是烦恼的。
If we talk about the Theravadan or Abhidharma,
如果我们用南传佛教或者说是阿毗达摩来解释，
we see that there is what is called a Bhavanga consciousness.
Bhavanga consciousness。
You better just say Bhavanga, and I'll explain.
在这个阿毗达摩里头，他管这种甚深的这种烦恼叫做梵文叫 Bhavanga 时韵。
This is, you could equate to an amplifier that's going to play some kind of music.
这种烦恼呢，你可以把它想象成一个把放音乐的时候用的这种放大器。
And when you turn it on,
当你把这个放大器音响打开的时候，
it is ready.
它马上就会有。
If you play a record from a record player,
如果你在放一张在唱片机上放一张唱片的时候，
and run it through the amplifier,
并通过这个放大器来播放，
then you can begin to hear music.
这时候你就可以听到音乐。
Before the music was the amplifier.
在音乐被播放之前，只有这个放大器，
It was always there.
这个扩音器一直都在。
When the music stops, the amplifier does not stop.
当音乐结束的时候，这个扩音器还在。
It simply waits for the next record to play.
他只是在等待下面一个音乐在播放。
It's resting.
他只是在休息。
When the music starts, it plays exactly the music that is from the source.
当下一个音乐播放的时候，我们选择做佛的时候，
We utilize the Buddha perception in order to see clearly what is playing on the record player.
我们用佛的心来清楚的关照，是什么在这个扩音器里在播放的。
We're not confused with whatever sounds are coming out, that those belong to the amplifier.
我们非常的清楚这个声音它不是属于这个扩音器的。
It simply causes and conditions that play certain sounds.
它不过就是因为缘起，因为因缘这个声音出现了。
Nor does the amplifier discriminate and say, no rock and roll, only classical music.
同样的，这个扩音器它也不会做选择，会说不能放摇滚，只能放古典音乐。
The sixth patriarch, Huineng,
六祖大师说，
after Master Hongren conferred on him that he was the next patriarch,
在五祖弘忍验证了他有开悟经验的时候，
he ran away from those who were chasing him from ignorance. They wanted to catch up with him.
他逃离了他所在的寺庙，因为他要远离那些烦恼的其他的人要来追赶他。
The fifth patriarch had given him, as he had received before from his master, the robe and the bowl signifying the new patriarch.
五祖呢给了六祖这个衣钵，就像是四祖给了五祖一样，来代表这种传承。
Finally, as he had left for quite a while, a skillful monastic had tracked him down.
在他逃离了他所在的寺庙很长时间以后，才有一位修行非常好的禅师找到了他。
Sensing that he was coming close, Huineng left the robe and the bowl on a big rock and hid in the forest.
慧能感受到了这个追赶他的人，修行已经非常接近，慧能有意的把这个衣钵放在了一个能让他看到的地方。
Then the chasing monk tried to pick up the robe and the bowl, but could not lift them.
但是追他的这位和尚呢，想把这个衣钵拿起来，但他无法做到。
Finally, he said, called out to the forest, I don't come for the robe and the bowl. I come for instruction.
这位和尚最后向着丛林喊说：“我来了不是为了衣钵，我来了是为了教导。”
Huineng appeared from out of the trees.
慧能从他藏身的地方出来了。
And he said, rest your mind for a while, and then I will tell you.
慧能说：“ 让你的心先静下来。我会告诉你。
Generally, this part of the story is overlooked.
一般来讲，这个部分刚刚讲的这一部分的这个故事这一段一般人会把它忽视。
It is in this moment that he is asking the monk to meditate, to quiet his mind.
实际上这段故事的意思是说，他让这位追他的和尚来打坐。
He wanted to set forth the causes and conditions that would enable him to receive what is called the esoteric teachings.
他通过这个让这个和尚来打坐这个手段，来建立这么一个因缘的成熟，让他能够了解甚深的禅的秘密。
This is not a reference to a school by the same name.
他在这个禅宗的历史上，没有被很好，这一段故事在禅宗的历史上没有被很好的解释。
The esoteric is the secret meaning.
秘密的意思就是说，我们普通人无法了解的东西，
or the hidden meaning.
或者是隐藏在背后的真秘。
The school of Chan is beyond words and phrases.
禅宗是超越了语言和文字。
There are three levels of understanding Buddha Dharma.
对佛法的了解有3个层次。
The first is just to read the Dharma and understand it as an ordinary sentient being.
第一个层次是读经表面的意思，了解它也只是从它字面的意思来了解。
You can obtain some understanding, but yet you still know something in your understanding is missing.
我们可能会对这些文字表面有一些理解，但是内心深处我们还是觉得有一些东西我们无法真正的理解。
The second level of understanding is the profound or the prajnaparamita practice and understanding.
第2层对佛法的理解呢，是这种甚深的或者是说用般若的思想来理解这个文字的意思。
Reading in this way, it leads one to the practice to put forth the meaning of what one has just read.
在这种第2层的对佛法的理解，会让我们用这种甚深的理解呢，来在生活中修行。
And the third is beyond words and phrases, and it is an intimate experience with mind itself.
而第3种对佛法的理解是，我们超越了经本上所说的语言和文字，而有一种和真心直接的这种亲密的体验。
If you looked at your hands, could you discriminate? One hand is better than the other.
如果你看到你的双手，你会不会有这种分别？是说，一个手比另一个手更好？
When you look at your hands, your entire body has an intimate understanding of your hands.
当你看着你的双手的时候，你的整个的身心都非常的了解你在看着什么。
You do not say, I know this one, I don't know this one.
你不可能会说我只了解左手而不了解右手是什么。
You have an intimate understanding of the body.
你有这种非常直接的、非常亲近的这种感受，他们和你的身体是如何连接的？
The practice of Chan is to have this intimacy with the Dharmakaya.
而禅的修行是让我们能够直接的去体会，去有这种真正的、直接的、亲密的了解法身是什么。
After the monk had meditated for a while, the causes and conditions were set that Hui Ning could present the Dharma to him.
在追慧能的这个和尚打坐了一会儿之后，他的因缘开始成熟了。这时候慧能开始向他展示什么是真正的佛法。
It was a very simple presentation.
而他的教法是非常简单的。
He said to him, without thinking of good, without thinking of evil, what mind is that?
慧能对他说：“不思善，不思恶，什么是你的本来面目？”
And because he was right to it, he instantly became enlightened.
因为他准备好了，所以他马上就能够理解法是什么。
If you didn't get it, perhaps you should have meditated longer.
如果你没有明白，也许你应该再打坐的时间更长一些。
But for him, he looked into mind and saw the intimate, the intrinsic.
因为他已经成熟了，他直接的和心相应，他直接知道佛性是什么。
Just like our analogy of the computer and the screen, the computer does not discriminate against what music is played.
就像我们刚才说的这个电脑的这个屏幕一样，这个电脑它本身不会去区分什么在屏幕上呈现。
Its capacity and capability enables it to play rock and roll or classical music.
它有这样的功能，它可以让它的这个电脑上放任何的音乐，不管是摇滚还是古典音乐
or Buddhist music.
或者是佛乐。
But if it's always playing loud music, it is because of causes and conditions.
如果它只是放那些非常嘈杂的音乐，那只不过是因为因缘的关系。
I play music oftentimes too loud.
我在放音乐的时候，我会放得非常的响。
It is because my ignorance is I'm deaf.
由于我的这种愚痴烦恼，我认为我是聋子一样。
So I can barely hear the music.
所以我不能够听到这个音乐。
My son will come into the room. What are you doing? Turn that down.
我儿子会说你在干什么？把那个声音调小一点。
And because causes and conditions never fail, I say to him, what?
由于因缘的关系，我当然会回答他：你在说什么？
Now I find myself playing more Buddhist music.
当然现在我开始放更多的是佛乐。
The mind does not interfere with what appears within it.
心不会去心中所呈现的一个东西，所有的东西，心不会去和它互动。
That is why it's neither sacred or profane.
所以说，一切的东西都是 不是善，也不是恶。
Everything is governed by pratika samappada, causes and conditions.
一切的呈现只不过是由于缘起的这个法则，让他们如实的呈现罢了。
And you might have thought I forgot about explaining this Nisyan entrenchment that I talked about from the Queen Shambhala Sutra.
也是因为这个缘起，我现在忘记了，我要跟你们解释这个所谓的根本这个圣曼夫人经里面所说的这个根本烦恼。
I needed to explain this part first before I went on.
我需要讲我刚才所讲的我才能够继续。
This Nisyan entrenchment of ignorance is the hardest and most insidious part of the practice.
这个根本烦恼是最难的，在我们修行中所最难去除。
Because this deep entrenched ignorance is the notion of the self.
其实呢，这个深深的非常深刻的这种烦恼，就是我们认为有一个我在。
It's deeply entrenched and prohibits us from recognizing our Buddha nature.
它是如此的根深蒂固，它让我们无法得见佛的本性。
Even the great master Mahabua explained how deep it is.
即便是一位非常有修行的大修行人，他的名字叫马哈布，他也提到了这个根本烦恼这种我执是多么的深刻。
Even at the moment when we believe that we have reached a final enlightenment,
即便是在我们能够有完全证悟的情况下。
and all that's left is this radiance in mind.
在证悟的时候，心的光芒照耀着一切。
He said that it comes together like a nucleus of all.
当这个我们完全证悟的时候，就像这个一颗原子的核爆发一样。
So even then, when you look with the discerning mind, you can see ever so subtle changes in this light.
即便是在那个时候，
He
这
said,
个 sorry 即便是在那时候，真心也能够非常的清楚的看到这颗正悟的心的光芒，它在微妙的缓缓的变化。
he said that radiant light represents the last place that the self hides. It is what brings everything into being.
实际上，这颗心的真心的光芒，就是这个我们自我所隐藏的地方，它是一切发生的根源。
You could say it's if one was looking at the 12 nadanas, the laws of dependent origination.
你也可以说，12因缘。
Going back to the first, and just before that, there is this radiant light.
12因缘的第一个是无明，在无明之前就有着这个真心的光芒。
This radiant light represents the potential of becoming.
这个真心的光，它代表了一切发生的这种可能性。
It is here where Queen Shamala was saying we have to go to extract this entrenched self.
其实就是在这样的一个时刻，圣曼夫人说，我们要去捕捉到这个非常深深的对自我的我知。
Doing so, then all that remains is the Buddha nature without obstruction.
如果在这一个时刻，我们能把最后的这个我执放下，所剩下的那就只有无爱的佛性。
Now, mind you, irregardless of whether or not the Buddha nature is obstructed or not, it's still Buddha nature.
当然，我要提醒诸位的是，这个佛性，不管是有没有障碍，它是永远在的。
It's still the Dharmakaya, the mind ground.
它法身一样是在那里。
We refer to that as Ru Jing.
我们管这个法身呢叫如镜。
And that which knows that
对这个法身所清楚了解的那个，
is the knowing aspect of the Dharmakaya, which is the root zit.
法身的这种自身本有的这种了知，知道它的存在的我们管它叫如智。
They are not two.
如智和如镜不是两个，
although sometimes they're referred to as Ru.
所以我们管它叫如。
This is reference to Ru Lai Zong.
这个实际上指向了如来藏的思想。
They're not even one.
我们也不可以管它叫做是一个。
It is where all concepts return to.
这是所有的概念所有概念的根源。
I remember once I was in a conference of different religions.
我记得有一次我在一个多宗教的一个会议上。
This was in the University of Redlands in California.
这个是在加州的一个叫 Redland 大学的一个地方。
And we were all sitting before the audience.
我们都坐在了观众的前面。
And all of the religions were represented.
所有的主要的宗教师都在场。
At least in California style.
至少是从加州的这种风格的所有的宗教。
A Baptist, a Methodist, a Presbyterian, a Catholic.
不同的宗教 ，Baptist，天主教、基督教，各种各样的基督教。
And one Buddhist.
只有我一个是佛教徒。
All the rest were Christians.
剩下其他的人都是各个宗派的基督教徒。
And they took questions from the audience.
他们回答观众的提问。
And they, first person, a woman, said, I know that in our practice, everything returns to the one. And so what does that mean?
其中一位女性修行人，女性的这个基督教徒说，一切都回归到一，这个回归到一是什么意思？
I was so anxious to answer. I know.
我非常的激动，我说我来回答这个问题。
And so they called on me. They didn't know who I was.
所以他们让我来回答。
In a presence of all those Christians, I might as well have been the devil.
在这么多基督教徒面前，我本来就是一个魔鬼。
I could see them saying, have you seen their gods? One of them has a red face and a sword.
你看到这所有的这些神鬼里面，其中有一个人是红脸拿着一把宝剑。
关公.
那是关公。
But when the Christians they would say, your statues are scary.
基督教徒会说，你们这种崇拜偶像是非常可怕的。
And I would say, more scarier than a man nailed to a cross?
我可能会说，你们难道觉得一个人被钉在十字架上不可怕吗？
Back to the story.
回到刚才的故事。
I said, in our practice, we have a saying.
我回答说，在我们的修行里，我们也有一个说法。
If all returns to the one,
万法归一，
where does the one return to?
一归何处？
I was so happy with my response.
我对我的回答是很得意的。
But in the room, you could hear the crickets in the back.
屋子里当时是非常的安静，甚至于可以听到蟋蟀在房子的后面的鸣声。
Cricket, cricket, cricket. Yeah, the translator.
你可能能听到蟋蟀说。
They never called on me again.
我回答之后，他们再也不让我回答问题了。
Sometimes I ingest humor because what I'm talking about is very deep and profound.
我只是跟他们开了个玩笑，但是呢，我所说的实际上是非常深深的义理在后面。
So your mind needs to take a rest before going back again.
所以我们的心呢，首先要安静下来，我们才能够真正的回归。
This entrenchment so deep down is this illusory self, this notion that there is a life in being.
这个烦恼是如此的深深的扎根，我们会有一种错觉，是有一个人我存在。
But we know from the Diamond Sutra, there is no ego, no personality, life, or being.
但是《金刚经》却说，无我相、人相、众生相、寿者相。
If we practice Buddha Dhamma with the idea that we will get it, we will understand it, we will attain Buddhahood, this is the second level.
如果我们觉着在修行中，我们是可以成佛的，这样的做法实际上是第二等的修行。
Since the very beginning, when Buddha Dharma came from India to China, it has always been clear.
从一开始佛教传入到中国的时候，它就非常的清楚的表明。
How many of you have heard the one treatise, Awakening of the Faith in Mahayana? Raise your hands.
哦，你们谁听说过《大乘起信论》这本书请举手。
Oh, good. Almost every hand.
很好。They are actually talking about this right now. Who's reading
good.
about this right now?
Excellent. You
It's been
know,
3 years.
the term Mahayana does not refer to the school.
哦，大乘这个词，它实际上不是代表一个宗派。
When this treatise came out, there was no Mahayana school.
当《大乘起信论》出来的时候，没有一个所谓的大乘这一个宗。
The term meant the Buddha.
这个词“大乘”这个词，实际上就是代表了佛。
The highest vehicle was the Buddha or Buddha mind.
这种最上乘的大乘，就代表了佛本身或者是佛心。
So it's the same as saying have faith in mind.
这也可以说，是对佛心的这种信念。
It's important because all of the sutras that were coming out at that time were speaking of ekayana, meaning the single vehicle or mind.
还有一个重要的是，在那一个时期，其他所有的经典的出现，都是围绕着一乘或者是说一心这样一个理念，
or Buddha nature.
或者是说叫佛性。
The sutras all referenced it in this way.
所有的经典都围绕着这个主题。
Early sutras, Lotus Sutra, Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra.
比如说法华经或者是所有的般若经典，大般若经典都是在谈论这个。
Vatamsaka Sutra.
华严经也是如此。
And the Tathagatagarbha Sutras all were pointing towards Buddha nature.
以及如来藏经典也都指出了这个一心的概念。
It was in this way that we begin to understand mind.
在这个因缘之下，我们开始能够了解心是什么。
We begin to investigate mind.
我们开始参究心的本质。
In the Chan school, starting with Bodhidharma,
在禅宗是从菩提达摩开始的。
all the teachings were reflecting the true functioning and nature of mind.
所有的教法，禅宗的教法，都是在 想告诉我们心是如何运作的，它的功能是什么。
Wake goes to Damo. Please help me. I cannot rest my mind.
慧可在向达摩请法的时候说，请您帮我安心。
He told them, find your mind and bring it to me.
达摩说，你把你的心给我，我来帮你安。
Finally, Wake came back. I've looked all over for my mind. I cannot find it.
慧可回答说，我到处的找，但是无法找到我的心。
Then your mind is rested.
达摩说，那你的心就安了。
Wherever you look, you could only find illusory self. You cannot find your mind.
不管你往哪看去，你看到的只是一个虚妄的自我，你无法看到真心。
We become confused and we think the self is mind and just needs to be polished up.
我们于此升起了这种烦恼和执着，认为我们自己就是心，我们只需要把它修饰的很好，把它做的完美。
But if you could bring a wooden puppet to life, then you could polish the self.
如果你要是能够把一个木偶变成活的，当然你也可以把我们的自我变成了一个完美的自我，或者是真心。
Except in the cartoon of Pinocchio and the story, nobody can bring a wooden puppet to life.
当然，在匹诺曹的这个故事里面，清楚的告诉我们，没有人有本事能把一个木偶变成了鲜活的人。
It's best to choose the Buddha.
最好是用佛心。
It's never been born.
他从来也没有生，
So it will never die.
所以他也从来不会灭。
Pretty good deal, right?
这是多好的一件事，对吧？
It creates everything.
他创造了一切，
It can even be used to find that illusory self.
这颗佛心实际上也能够清楚看到这个虚妄的自我。
Understanding and finding this illusory self brings liberation.
了解并找到这个虚妄的自我，它本身就是一种解脱。
What do you think if I came here and I told you, I want you all to know that I had won the big lottery in the United States?
大家想一想，如果我来到这儿告诉大家，我在美国赢了美国最大的这个乐透，
Not of like $50 billion.
500亿美元，
And I'm coming here to make you all rich. I'm sharing it with all of you.
但假设我把这500美元和你们每一位都分享，
Would you think I'm a very nice person?
你们会认为我是一个非常善良的人吗？
Right? You better, because I won't share it with you.
你如果说我不好的话，我不会跟你分享。
And so you walk out of here incredibly rich.
所以你从今以后你变成了非常富有的人。
Thank you, Gilbert.
感恩 Gilbert，
And then you go to the doctor.
然后你去见你的医生，
So you know what's coming next, right?
所以你知道我后面要说什么了吗？
a trip to the undertaker.
去到了你去向死亡天使去报道，
And your family would say, he was so nice and rich.
你可能会说他是如此的慈悲，如此的富有，
Not a very good deal, right?
这个时候你可能就觉着没有这么好。
But I have good news for you.
但是我会告诉你们有另外一个好消息。
Again, in your country, you have a saying about blowing the cow, making something bigger than it is.
在中文的世界里，你们有一个词叫吹牛，把那个原有的东西放大。
But I'm truly the richest person in the world.
但是我可以告诉你们，我是这个世界上最富有的人。
Not only am I the richest person in the world, I want to share this wealth with you.
我不仅仅是最富有的人，我也确实想把这个财富和你们每一位分享。
And no matter what, if you die, you bring it back the next lifetime.
无论如何，即便是我们在这个生命中会死去，我们也会带着这个财富再来到人间。
And whoever you share it with becomes very, very rich.
当你把这个财富和别人分享的时候，那个地方就变成了最富有的地方。
The first retreat I went to with Master Shen Yang, at the end, I saw him sitting there and he was listening to the retreat reports of the people that had been to the retreat.
当我去第一个我和圣严师傅的禅期的时候，在禅期结束后，大家都在做分享的时候，师傅坐在旁边聆听每一位的分享。
And after a week of eating very modest food, he had this bowl of M&Ms, the chocolates with different colors.
在吃了一个礼拜非常简单的饭食之后，这个时候他却拿出了一碗巧克力糖，来和大家分享。
Even they were the ones with peanuts inside, even better.
有的巧克力糖 M&M 中间还有这个花生米，更好。
And he was there and he was rolling them in the bowl, just playing with them.
他在这一碗这个糖果之中，他用他的手指呢轻轻地搅动它们。
And he had this smile on his face, a very simple smile.
他在脸上挂着这种非常自然的、非常亲切的微笑。
When I saw him doing that, the candies turned into precious jewels.
当我看到他在做这个动作的时候，我突然理解了，这些所有的糖果变成了宝石。
And they represented that during that retreat, he was always offering us these precious jewels.
它象征着在这个禅期当中，他一直在向我们分享着这所有的宝藏。
We could fill our pockets with this precious gems.
他的这些宝藏跟我们分享，我们可以把我们的口袋里都装满。
And the more we took, the more appeared in front of him.
我们拿的这个宝藏越多，这个宝藏在他面前的宝藏就反而变得更多。
I too freely offer all of these jewels to you.
今天我也要把这个宝藏来和你们所有的人分享。
Your precious leader does the same.
你们的会长也在做着相同的事。
If you pick up one of his books, it would be the same as picking up a treasure chest.
如果你再去读他的一本书的时候，就像是你在从一个藏宝的箱子里去拿出宝物一样。
We in the samsaric world measure things in material wealth.
在这个轮回的世界中，我们是通过这个财富来衡量一个人的富有与否，
in material comforts.
以及这种物质的享受来衡量。
But truly, all of this is like drinking salt water.
但实际上这一切的东西都像是喝海水一样，
Our thirst can never be quenched.
它永远解不了我们的渴。
You see all of the rich people in the world.
你们看到这个世界上所有的富人，
They're not happy.
他们并不是真正的高兴幸福，
They have to amuse themselves.
他们用一切的办法来让他们自己高兴。
They spend so much money playing with rockets.
他们花了这么多的钱去做各种各样乱七八糟的事情，就为了让他们高兴。
We have one like that in the United States that likes to build rockets.
在美国，我们就有一位这样的富人，他通过建造火箭来让他自己高兴。
When I think of all of those monies, what they can do to help others, it's very sad.
当我想到了他有这么多的钱可以用来作为做更多的善事的时候，我感觉到非常为他感到悲哀。
And they're not happy. They're always fighting with each other.
但他们也并没有真正的幸福，他们互相之间经常斗争。
If you have several $billion, wouldn't you think at some point you would say and move away from the table and say, I've had enough to eat. I don't need any more.
当你赚到了亿万的财产的时候，难道你就不能够说我已经吃饱了，我不需要再要了？
But they are like hungry goats trying to fill their bellies.
但他们就像恶鬼一样，永无止境的来让自己的肚子填饱。
If we hold on to these people as our goal, then we clearly are seeing everything upside down.
如果我们以这样的人作为榜样，我们绝对是对这个世界有一个非常颠倒的认知。
Now, in this lecture, I've been going in and out of very deep Dharma and to very simple things.
在今天的课程里头呢，实际上我给大家既讲到了非常简单的佛法，也讲到了非甚深的佛法。
Because I want to give you a flavor of Chan, a taste of it.
我希望我今天的课程能够让大家浅尝禅的味道，
so that you can feel the spirit of it.
所以你能够感受到禅的精神。
It sees things very clearly in this world.
禅就是非常清楚的了知一切，
It doesn't attach to nonsense.
它不会对任何的这种错误的观念去产生执着。
One of the things that Chan does is it gives you an owner's manual for this body that you never got when you came into this world.
禅实际上是给了我们一本说明书，解释在我们出生到这个世界上以后应该如何的运作。
If you had an owner's manual, you would know how to take care of this body.
如果你真的对这本说明书了解的话，你会很清楚的知道我们如何照顾自己的身心。
If you smoke cigarettes, your lungs will be damaged and you'll void the warranty.
如果你经常的抽烟，你的肺会被毁掉，而这个保修的这个单子也会被作废。
If you drink too much, again, you will void the warranty because you'll damage your liver.
如果你经常的酗酒你也同样会把这个保修单作废因为你在伤害你的肝脏。
And you'll be always angry.
你也会经常的生气和愤怒。
If you hang on to sorrow, it will damage your lungs too.
如果你经常陷入一种悲哀的情绪之中，它也会伤害你的肺。
If you eat too much in this lifetime, there's no guarantee you can come back as a human.
如果你经常大块头，你经常无限制的吃的话，我不敢保证你下一世回来还能变成成为人身。
Like Master Ling Chi said, you won't know where you're going, but the winds may blow you into the belly of a donkey or a cow.
你有可能不会知道你去哪里，就像临济祖师说的，你不知道你会去哪里，但是这个业力的大风可能会把你投胎到一个牛或者驴的肚子里。
These are the causes and conditions that can occur if we really don't understand mind.
这样的因缘是会发生的，如果我们不能真正的了解心的运作。
When we understand mind,
当我们了解心的时候，
we simply just choose the Buddha all the time.
我们就会一直选择做佛。
How do we choose the Buddha?
如何用此佛心？
By understanding that the idea of the self arising is not real.
第一步就是要清楚的了解，一切跟自我有关的想法都是虚妄。
We don't have to pay attention to the self.
我们不需要去关心这个自我。
Sometimes the women, sorry to pick on women, but they buy all sorts of products, so many creams, always putting on cream. You put one cream on.
有时候一些女性她们会买各种各样的化妆品，在脸上涂抹很多。
Then you buy another cream to take that cream off.
然后你会买另外一个产品，是把涂在你脸上的东西再去掉。
And then you paint your face.
然后你美化自己，
So as that you will appear younger than you are.
这样的话你会看起来比你实际年龄小。
That's how these companies make a lot of money.
这就是为什么这些做化妆品的公司赚这么多钱。
It will work for a while.
它可能会带来一时的满意，
Especially when you're in your 20s.
尤其是在你20多岁的时候。
After that, when you're in your 50s, then you're looking for more expensive creams to put on.
在那之后，等你到了50多岁的时候，你就不得不再去找更贵的这种化妆品来装饰自己。
We don't really see how this works.
这是因为我们不能够了解心的运作是怎样的。
And forgive me for picking on you on that. I just use this as an example.
请大家原谅我不是有意的要提出来是女性的问题，我只是在给大家举个例子。
The reality of this place that we call samsara and human samsara is it's a dream.
对这个娑婆世界、这个轮回世界的真正的正确的正见是，这就是一场梦。
We've been here so long and attached to the dream for so long, we believe that it's real.
因为我们在这个梦里待的时间太久了，我们是如此的执着这个梦，我们会认为它是真实的。
And again, come back in 100 years and make this argument.
如果你们想和我争辩我刚说的这个话，那100年以后我们再来争辩。
Everything is constantly changing because it's impermanent.
一切都在变化之中，因为无常。
Yet we want to hold on to it as if we wanted to hold on to a handful of sand at the beach.
但是我们却要执着于这一切的无常，就像我们在海边抓起一把沙子，想把它们永远的留在手中。
Little by little, the grains of sand will pour out of your palm of your hand.
但事实上，是留不住的，沙子会从你的手的缝隙中流失。
It's better to choose the Buddha.
最好的是去做佛。
This mind, it's very important to understand this part.
这颗心现在我要给大家讲这是非常重要的。
I want to give you something positive.
现在我要讲一些具有更有正能量的东西。
Because you go home and they say, "What did Gilbert tell you?"
因为如果你回家，家里人会问这 Gilbert 今天讲了什么，
You'll be very sad. You said,
你会觉得很难过。
"This world's a dream."
这个世界不过是一场梦。
And my creams don't work.
我的化妆品不能再让我变得好看。
Anything else?
还有什么？
I'm gonna die.
我有一天会死去。
Before I can give you riches, I have to make sure you're willing to let go of this foolish notion of the self.
如果你想要接纳我给你的这个财富的话，你必须要先去除放下这个对自我的执着。
Recently, I've been using an example of something that I saw when I was a very young man on the television.
最近我给大家讲过一个故事是在我是年轻的时候我上了电视。
It was on a nature program.
这个电视的频道是关于自然的。
And it was a program of based on an African tribe.
而这个节目的主题是根据一个非洲的土著部落。
And this it showed how the natives caught their food.
这个节目拍摄到了他们是如何抓到他们的食物的。
They would take a dried gourd, and one that had a narrow opening at the top and very fat at the bottom.
他们会用一个干的葫芦，口是非常小的，但是下面的肚子却是很大的。
And they would tie a string to the neck of it and then tie that to a stake. in the ground.
他们会用一根绳子一头绑在了一个柱子上，另一头绑在这个干葫芦上。
And they would put a precious big nut in the gourd, one that they knew that the monkeys loved.
他们会放一种猴子非常喜欢的这种干果在这个葫芦里面。
And then they would just set the gourd on the ground and walk away.
他们就把葫芦放在地上然后离开。
So then the monkeys would come, pick up the gourd and look at it, shake it, realize there was a precious nut inside.
猴子就会来并且拿起这个葫芦看到里面有这个非常好吃的坚果。
And then they would take their hand and put it into the gourd, into the narrow opening to grab the nut.
他们就会把手伸到这个葫芦里面去抓那颗坚果。
And they couldn't pull their hand out.
他们抓到坚果以后，他的手变大，就不能够从葫芦里再抽手出来。
Without letting go of the nut.
如果他们不放弃这个坚果的话。
But they didn't want to let go of the nut.
但是他们不愿意放弃这个坚果。
So they could be there for a long time trying to get the nut out of the gourd.
他们会花很长时间在里面挣扎，想把这个坚果从葫芦里拿出来。
And the video then showed the natives walking right up to the monkey. Monkey's going like this. He's seeing a native coming with a big club.
这个时候这个非洲部落的这个捕猎者，他就会走向这个猴子，猴子也看到了他们来抓他，但是他们无法离开。
He would not let go of that nut.
因为他不愿意放弃那颗坚果。
And I'm watching this program and going, let go, let go.
在我看到这个影片到这个时候，我会说，赶紧放开那个坚果吧。
Like, oh my God, let go. He's like 2 feet in front of you.
赶紧放弃坚果吧。这个土著人已经拿着一根大棍子走，离你只有2尺远了。
They didn't show the next moment.
这个影片没有演后面发生什么。
But they did show the monkey with a stick through him over a fire being roasted.
但是下面的一个镜头，演到了这个猴子被一根铁棍穿着在火上烤。
Like, oh my God, he's gone to hell.
我说天哪，他真像经过了地狱一般。
Those natives were very impatient. They didn't even bother to skin it. They just stuck the whole monkey on the stick and toasted it.
那些土著人，他们不是很耐心，他们直接就用一根铁棍子把它穿起来，用火去烧。
The sutras are always talking about that we're in a burning building.
佛经里会讲，我们就好像是在火宅中一样。
The Chan liturgy talks about that we should practice as if our head was a flame.
在禅的修行里头，在晚课的时候，我们会说，我们要精进，就如同像救脑袋上的火一样。
We don't understand that.
但是我们不能真正理解这是什么意思。
We're like the monkey trying to pull the nut out, knowing that it's not going to work. And yet we choose that. It doesn't make any sense.
我们自己就像是那些猴子，想把这个坚果拿出来，但是我们心里又知道是拿不出来的，但我们无论如何，我们还是选择了这样做。
Because of causes and conditions, this kind benefactor appears before you to offer you an alternative.
因为因缘啊，你们现在有一位善知识来到你们的面前，给了你们一个生活的另外的一个方法。
All of you listening to me in this room and online are not other than the Buddha.
你们所有的在座的各位，以及在线上的各位，
Buddha nature runs through all of you.
你们都本具佛性。
It does not belong to your body.
这个佛性不是说属于你的身体。
Master Ling Chi would say, let your liver teach you the Dharma. Let your spleen listen to it.
灵济祖师说，让你的肝来讲法，让你的脾脏来听法。
It does not belong to the body.
法不属于我们这个个人，
The body belongs to mind.
实际上，我们的身心是在心之中。
This very awareness that you have right now that's listening is not other than your own intrinsic Buddha nature.
你们现在能够听到我讲，你们的这种觉知的能力，是和佛心无二无别。
You need to believe this.
我们要对这个法有信心。
If you live your life in this way, you have less and less troubles, less and less problems.
如果你对法有了真正的信心，我们的生活会变得越来越简单，越来越没有问题。
Even if you have problems, you'll be able to handle them better.
即便是问题来了，我们也能够更好的处理它。
Please practice well.
请我今天请诸位精进的修行。
Along right now, some of you may be thinking,
也许你们会想，
what kind of nut was in that gourd?
那个葫芦里的那个坚果到底是什么样子的？
It must have been a very delicious nut.
那一定是非常好吃的一种坚果。
Don't bother with that.
不要去理会那个坚果。
Trust that this very mind that's listening to me right now is not other than the Buddha mind. You've never lost it. It's never been born. It will never die. It's always here.
对自己要有信心。这个在现在能够听到我讲法的这颗心，它和真心是无二无别的，它从来没有升起，也从来没有熄灭，它永远的存在。
Master Ling Chi said, do you want to see the Buddhas and the patriarchs?
灵济
Yeah.
灵济祖师说，你们想知道真心是什么样子？
Everybody said, of course, you have to show us the Buddhas and the patriarchs.
当然，所有的弟子都会说，当然，请法师，告诉我们，佛和祖师都是什么样子的。
He said, it's not other than those of you standing here to listen to the lecture. You are not different from them.
他说，佛和祖师和你们是无二无别的。
When I heard this, the first thing I thought,
当我听到这个故事的时候，我的一开始的想法是，
well, he made them all stand to listen to him.
他用这种善巧的方法，让所有的人去听他去讲法。
Here you are sitting very comfortably.
那些人是站着听法，而你们现在都是坐着，非常舒服的在听。
But in a very simple way, he explained the most profound.
他用了一个最简单的、非常简单的方法，把一个甚深的道理呈现出来。
In the most simple way, he offered you these great riches.
他用一个非常简单的方便，他把这个财富呈现给大家。
The Diamond Sutra. Suppose Subhuti, if the Buddha was to offer all sentient beings treasure chests, the numbers of, if all the sands in the Ganges River were Ganges rivers and all those sands were treasure chests, would the merit be great?
在《金刚经》里，佛问须菩提，如果一个修行人他把像恒河里面的沙一样多的这个恒河沙一样多的这样的宝箱里面放着宝贝，来做供养的话，
Oh yes, world honor, when that would be such a great gesture and merit.
须菩提回答：如果他用这些做供养，这是一个很大的功德。
And then the Buddha said, not as much as reciting 4 lines of this sutra to someone is a greater treasure.
但是佛说，即便是这样的功德，以这样的供养做的功德，也不如听到这《金刚经》里面的4句偈颂的功德来得大。
Tada, you've already won the lotto.
好了，你们已经赢得了这个乐透。
Tada,
他哒，
you've already won the lotto.
你们已经赢了。
This is real, not false.
这是真实不虚的。
This transcends the idea of what we think in samsara as to be real and false.
这超越了我们对这个我们这个世俗娑婆世界所谓的什么是对，什么是真，什么是假。
I have so much and so little time to be able to convey to you all I have. Actually, I haven't even resorted to my notes.
我有如此多的东西想和大家分享，但时间却是如此的短暂。今天的讲座，我居然我还没有开始用我的这个所有的这个材料。
We use our heart to help and to allow people to choose the Buddha.
我用我们的真心去影响周围的人，让他们也能够走在这成佛之路上。
We know this world is a dream world.
我们首先了解这个世界就是一场梦。
The Diamond Sutra says so much.
金刚经里直接就是这样说的。
All that you should think of this fleeting world,
一切有为法，
a morning star,
如梦幻泡影，
a flash of lightning in a summer cloud,
如露亦如电，
a dewdrop on a leaf,
就像是露水一般，
a bubble in a stream,
就像小溪中的水泡，
an illusion, a phantasm, a dream.
它是一个幻象，一个梦幻。
If everything is a dream, then why am I talking to you?
当然了，如果这一切都是梦，那为什么我还要和你们说话？
I remember I was once at the Chan Hall in Jinsong at Dharma Drum,
我记得有一次我在金山的法鼓山的禅堂里，
and I was talking to a group of university students there.
我在和一群大学生讲话，
And there was a very wise monk sitting there watching it all in the corner.
有一位很聪明的出家人坐在那里观察着一切的发生。
And he, out of all the noise in the room, you could hear his voice.
在如此嘈杂的环境里，你可以听到他在说
Gilbert, Gilbert.
Gilbert
Gilbert, Gilbert.
Gilbert。
They say that you're enlightened.
他们说你开悟了，
Are you enlightened?
你真的开悟了。
So through an interpreter, I answered him.
通过一个翻译，我给了他回答。
It is a dream asking a dream about a dream.
你的问题就像是一个梦在问另外一个梦，关于一个梦的故事。
Just this way,
其实就是这样，
just this way.
不过如此。
When we see this world, we know it's a dream.
当我们看到这个世界的时候，我们清楚知道它是一个梦。
But what's really important is when I look out onto you,
但是更重要的是，在这个梦中，当我看到你们的时候，
I don't see you as red meatballs.
我不把你们认为只不过是一个肉团身。
And you go, I'm not a meatball.
你可能会说，我不是什么一个只是一个肉团。
Weishan and I are meatballs.
Gilbert is me. Gilbert 和他的翻译你们才是真正的一个肉团。
He still has time to go to see this as a dream.
还没有太晚，我们还有机会去了解这是一个梦。
But what's important is, aside from this body, what I see in this room is Buddhas. Everywhere I see is Buddhas because that's what's real. The dream is not real. Now, well, Asha, go ahead.
更重要的是，我想告诉大家，在我看到你们每一个人这个身体以外，我看到的是是佛。我看到的任何一个地方，看到任何的事情都是佛的存在。
Yes. And so when we understand this, it's important, but if we say everything is a dream, then so what?
重要的是，我们说这就是一个梦，那然后呢？
So once I was in Ohio University in the United States, and a young university student asked me this question: if everything's a dream, what difference does it make?
有一次我在美国的俄亥俄大学讲座，有一位女众在问我，如果一切都是梦，那还有什么意义呢？
So I looked at her and said, "Oh, you're a university student." And she said, "Yes." And I said, "You have a roommate?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Suppose your roommate was asleep and you could see clearly she was in a bad dream, chasing off something and groaning."
嗯，我对他说，我说哦，你是一个大学的大学生，那你有没有一个室友？他说有啊。我说如果你看到了你的室友在做了一场噩梦，你可以看见他身体的扭动，在痛苦之中，
And you saw her struggling, what would you do?
你看到了他的这种挣扎，你会做什么？
What would you do?
你们会做什么？
And she said, "Why, wake her up, of course."
我当然会，这位学生说，我当然会把他摇醒。
And I said, "Why?"
我说为什么？
She goes, "Why?
他说，难道你还要问为什么？
It's just a bad dream. What's the difference?"
我然后说，这只是一个，既然是一个梦，你为什么要把它摇醒？
You're in a dream. Your dream's not that good.
你在一个梦中，这个梦并不是那么的美好。
And I'll give you a hint. It doesn't have a happy ending.
这个梦不美好的一个很大的一个表征，就是它的结束将是不是太好。
Better to choose the Buddha, right?
最好是选择用佛心。
You already have Buddha nature. You might as well act like it.
我们每一个人都有佛性，我们为什么不能够按照这个佛性来生活呢？
I don't want to see you in the National Geographic video trying to pull the nut out of the gourd.
我不想看到你们托生为猴子，然后在这个干的葫芦之中想把一个坚果拿出来的样子。
And like my favorite ancient master, Master Ling Chi, I'll put an end to this trashy talk.
就像是临济祖师在他开示的最后说，我现在要闭嘴了，结束这些所有的废话。